The nenes are starting to fly in.
Well, it's mid-October and the nenes are back in force for their mating season.
The nene mate for life. Only two exceptions to this is if the pair cannot produce viable eggs, or if one of them gets killed. The golf course puts up these nets where there's going to be a nest to protect the nenes from the errant golf balls. This pair of nene was the first to have hatchlings. One hatched on Christmas Eve afternoon and the other one hatched Christmas morning. The very next day, on the 26th, they had goslings out of the nest and down into the water. And then on the 27th, they had the little ones swimming completely across the pond, following mom and dad. Little bit of a struggle to keep up, but they waste no time in getting these hatchlings out doing things, eating on their own, swimming, the whole 9 yards. Prior to these goslings hatching, the mama lost her mate. He had been on the outside of the net feeding on some grass when he was hit by an errant golf ball. Knocked him silly. He spent a day and a half trying to swim around into the pond, and subsequently did climb out on this side of the pond. However, he was close to another nest, and the male from that nest proceeded to beat him up like crazy, to the point we thought that injured male had been killed. Subsequently, he was picked up by the rescue people from the Nene Center. He was still alive at that point, but we never did hear back whether he made it or not. After she had lost her mate, another lone male came up and wooed himself towards her. Became very friendly, actually mated with her, although she was still sitting on eggs. And about 3 days later, lo and behold, the eggs hatched. 4 goslings. He became an excellent stepfather, protecting the nest, helping raise these goslings. However, he almost was hit by a golf ball. He was standing on the outside of the net. A golfer hit the ball and just missed him. Very, very close. These next clips are some more close calls of Nene getting hit by a golf ball. The first clip I've put into slower motion so you can actually see the ball. The lady hits the ball. It goes sideways across the fairway, rolls across and actually hits the Nene. Fortunately, it wasn't injured. This lady hits her golf ball and it just goes right underneath the Nene. Very close. This gentleman hits his ball as 2 Nenes are flying by, almost took him out of the air. This lady hits her golf ball, gets across the pond, bounces up right next to the Nene, and then rolls back almost into the nest. The Nene really protect their nests. I've seen them chase off turkeys and dogs and other Nene. This gentleman went to hit his ball and the nene snuck up behind him, scared him quite a bit. He really didn't realize there was a nest there, but he's really leery about turning his back to the nene. And subsequently, he does the smart thing. He just moves his ball. This gentleman, he got charged by the nene, but then just kind of went with the flow and ended up hitting his ball onto the green. And this person just walks down to his ball, totally ignores the nene, and ends up hitting his ball onto the green.
Well, as I had mentioned before, the first two goslings were born on December 24th and December 25th. Within a matter of a week, more goslings were born. Some of the nesting nenes produced 2 goslings, some produced 3, several produced 4 goslings, and one of the pair actually had 5 goslings that they hatched. And it's kind of interesting because after a couple days, the 5 goslings turned into 6, because one of the goslings that was in a family of 4 must have decided they liked the one that had the bigger family. And that one stayed with that family through the rest of the growing season. It was fun to watch them grow. Cute as a button. Soon the parents were teaching them how to flap their wings, but they were having them build up their strength to their wings so that the wings could grow. Once they got bigger, they were urging them to try to fly. And then soon, they were actually flying 4 or 5 feet off the ground for a very short distance. We ended up with a total of 28 goslings, right here, the 18th hole, and on the 18th fairway. There is another pond further to the west of us called the lower pond. I don't know how many hatched down there this year, but that is another area where the nene do nest. Soon we got to the point that the hatchlings had grown so much that it was getting very, very hard to distinguish them between their parents. They were grouping together. Pretty soon they started flying across the pond back and forth. And then towards the last week of April, it seems like all of the new goslings, now which were full size, were flying together as a group, going around the golf course, flying down to the other pond, and then flying back up. And of course, the nene, when they're flying, they make a lot of noise. They do a lot of their honking. But it has been very entertaining to watch them.